My heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home. Hebrew home, Hebrew home. Good morning, Hebrew home. My home, my heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home.
Good morning and welcome to Wendy Wednesday. This is a special Father's Day edition of Good Morning Hebrew Home. We have a few dad jokes, our guest is a dad, and we have some other dad-related surprises. So we hope you enjoy today's show. Today is Wednesday, June 17th. It's sunny and it's going to go to 78 degrees. It's beautiful, so I hope you get outdoors today and enjoy the weather. We're going to start our show today with some dad jokes that I found on the internet. And the website that I went on was called A Boy's Life, which I think is kind of like a Boy Scouts kind of a website, but I found the jokes pretty humorous, so I hope that you do too. So our first joke is, Dad, are bugs good to eat? Asked the boy. Let's not talk about such things at the dinner table, son, his father replied. After dinner, the father inquired, now son, what did you want to ask me? Oh, nothing, the boy said. There was a bug in your soup, but now it's gone. Do we get any jokes? Okay, did you guys like that one? Okay, I'm getting some laughs, so that's good, that's good. Next joke is, what did the daddy buffalo say to the son before I left for school? Anybody? Anybody in the studio audience know?
Bye, son.
Bye, son. All right, that's Allison.
Good
Good job, Allison. A small boy was at the zoo with his father. They were looking at the tigers, and his father was telling him how ferocious they are. Daddy, if the tigers got out and ate you up, yes, son, father asked, ready to console him, which bus would I take home? Okay, I guess I'm easily amused. Okay. One more joke for you guys. 4 men are in the hospital waiting room because their wives are having babies. A nurse goes up to the first guy and says, congratulations, you're the father of twins. That's odd, answers the man. I work for the Minnesota Twins. A nurse says to the second guy, congratulations, you're the father of triplets. That's weird, answers the second man. I work for the 3M company. A nurse tells the third man, congratulations, you're the father of quadruplets. That's strange, he answers. I work for the Four Seasons Hotel. The last man is groaning and banging his head against the wall. What's wrong, the others ask. I work for 7-Up. Ba-dum-bum. Did you guys like that? Do you have any jokes that you enjoy? Let us know what you thought about my humor this morning. I think that I'm going to make this a regular part of my Wednesdays, share some fun jokes because I think they're pretty entertaining. So please let us know if you have a favorite joke to tell, if you liked my jokes. All you have to do is call 2813. That's 2813. Or just mention it to any staff member and they'll be sure to get your questions and comments to us at the show. Today's menu for lunch is hamburger on a bun with french fries and homemade coleslaw with fresh watermelon for dessert. And for dinner, we're serving minestrone soup with boiled tilapia, cacciatore, and linguine with garlic and olive oil with pound cake for dessert. So sounds delicious. Enjoy your meals today. So today's an important day in history. I want to talk about one particular celebrity who is celebrating a birthday today, and that is the one, the only, Barry Manilow. Do we have any Barry Manilows there? They're called Manilows, right?
Yeah.
Right, Copacabana, right? Okay, so do we have any fans? Do you have any favorite songs of Barry Manilow? There's so many to choose from. I have to say I'm a big fan. Now, I know this is a Father's Day theme. I don't know if he's a dad. Does anybody know if Barry Manilow's a dad?
No.
Not a dad. Okay, well, we're still going to be able to talk about him. So Barry turns 76 today. And did you know that his birth name was Barry Allen Pincus? And Manilow was his mother's maiden name, which he adopted at his bar mitzvah. He wrote the Like a Good Neighbor State Farm jingle. Did you know that? He also wrote Stuck on Band-Aid jingle. Do you remember that one? That was a good one. And he also sang jingles for Kentucky Fried Chicken, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, and McDonald's. So he's very talented. His first recordings were made under the name Featherbed. I'm sure there's an interesting story behind that, but went by Featherbed, and he was produced by Tony Orlando. Remember that? He played piano in a bathhouse early on, and the bathhouse included a disco, pool, sauna, cabaret lounge, and it was there that he first collaborated with Bette Midler. He actually co-produced her first 2 albums. And funny side note, the song Mandy, which is a great song, was originally called Brandy. He changed it because there was already another song called Brandy. You remember that one? Brandy, you're a fine girl. You remember that one?
No.
Oh, that's a great song. All right, you guys have to look that up. But he did not write the song, I Write the Songs. Believe it or not, a member of the Beach Boys wrote that song. And he won his only Grammy with the song Copacabana. He was...
That's cool.
Oh, we got some singing going on here. And he was Ronald Reagan's neighbor, and he joked that he could not sunbathe in the nude due to the Secret Service helicopters. So that's all the news about Barry Manilow. Happy birthday, Barry. Our Hebrew home birthdays include Virginia V. and David O. And your birthday horoscope says, make it your aim over the next 12 months to introduce one small change each and every day. A year from now, having taken 365 small steps, you may find you have traveled a very long way. You don't need grand plans, you just need to keep moving. I think that's a great horoscope. I think that's a great suggestion for anybody. Just do one thing different each day to make things better in your life. I think it's great. So we have a super duper special guest today, my very good friend and our Chief Operating Officer, David V. Pomeranz. Welcome, David.
It's odd to be in the other seat.
Welcome to the guest chair.
You know, I hear a lot of things about how nervous people get in this chair, so I hope I don't
Are you
channel
nervous?
that. No, I don't feel nervous yet, but you know, you've already hit a number of chords in your show which connect to me. Barry Manilow was my dad's favorite.
Really?
Big into it's a Father's Day show, and
Oh.
we had an 8-track player. Those of you who remember what 8-track players, these really large cassettes that you shoved into the cars, into these big boxes, and boy, we listened to Copacabana quite a lot.
Do you have a favorite Barry Manilow song?
Well, it would have to be that, because that was like the main song, and it played. I'd have to hear the other songs on the tape to remember them, but that one I'd have never forgotten. And that was his big, exciting thing. So it's hard to imagine he's 76 already.
He's
Good for him.
76. And you've seen him in concert, right?
I have not seen Barry Manilow in concert, but I
Oh,
feel like
you
I
almost-
have.
Didn't you almost? I feel like we spoke about that.
Possibly.
Maybe you're on your way. All right. Well, Barry, you have 2 big fans here, so we want to see you perform sometime. So I think most people who are watching know that you're our Chief Operating Officer, but perhaps you could share your journey, how you got to where you are today at Beaver Home.
Yeah, I like to call it an accidental journey, because it really was not my plan. It has worked out incredibly, especially for me, but I did not plan this to be my career. I was actually interested in media, interested in communications, and I wanted to work in film. Not on the front side of the camera where I am today, which I don't prefer to be, but on the back end. And I used to spend my summers out in California watching movies and TVs be made, and it was a real interest of mine. I was going to school locally at Manhattan College, taking coursework at College of Mount St. Vincent, where they had a lot of communications and media courses. And then one day, as fate will tell you, they said that you had to do a public speaking role, and I did not want to do any public speaking. So I said, this is a message to change my major, and I dropped communications for the standpoint of the one course, which would have forced me to do a lot of talking in front of a lot of the students, which I wasn't comfortable to do. So I changed. And I took psychology courses, because I figured I could learn why I didn't feel comfortable to stand in front of the room.
Self-analyze.
And my professor at school, Dr. Marie Thomas, who I'm still in good touch with, became a very close friend after being my teacher for several courses. And I found the psychology degree, which was my major, to be very rewarding and very useful in all aspects of life. You know, the work that we do and talking to people and managing staff. Psychology has relevance in everything we do. So that became a major. I was going locally to school here at Manhattan College. To make the long story a little bit shorter, I did work here in wheelchair transport, to earn a few bucks since I lived in Riverdale. Went to school in Riverdale. I figured I would come work at the Hebrew Home, and I was a wheelchair transport aide back in 1985. And I've sort of been lucky and blessed to have many jobs here since then and get a chance to learn the organization, which is very useful from an operations standpoint, from all different angles. So it's been a wonderful journey for me. It's 35 years old, and I've touched it from many different directions. And it's been a big part of my life.
That's quite a journey from pushing wheelchairs to now being COO.
You know, I often tell people it was the best job I had because it allowed me, the reason I really was excited to do this work was I had no living grandparents when I was born. All my grandparents were deceased. I had people that stepped in the role to act as grandparents, but didn't have any, and it allowed me to fill sort of a void that I had and really learn about a generation of people that were blessed to work for and with, who were full of history and great stories, and it's like having had thousands and thousands of grandparents, many of whom wanted to introduce me to their granddaughters along the way, and nice things like that, and it was, you know, a great opportunity to connect into a profession in a very gentle way, and but that wheelchair transport was nice because you could talk and you'd bring them to places. They was excited to be brought to events and activities or go outside. Actually, I started in the summer program in '85 to take people outdoors. We'd read to them and do poetry and stuff, and it was just a really nice way to spend time with some really cool people.
And in your current role, talk to us about, you know, if you have a favorite aspect of it, or what keeps you, you know, motivated and excites you in the current role.
I think my favorite role is trying to help develop talent. I like very much to be part of the hiring process and to take people's tremendous skills and help them to utilize them better, to find outlets for their creativity, to give them support to take chances. And you know, I've been blessed to work with many people here and seeing them with their own skills succeed, and my role being sort of behind the scenes to coach or to push or to be a source of inspiration. It's the most rewarding thing to see people grow. Some stay in other positions here in the home, have changed departments, some go on to work in other organizations, but a chance to see people realize their potential. I find that a lot of people are a lot better than they think they are. People generally come in thinking that they have limits and they're not capable, or it's too much, or I shouldn't try that. And maybe because of my own background of feeling like I couldn't do public speaking, it inspired me to help people to overcome their limitations. Public speaking now is not an issue for me, but back in 1980, whatever it was a big issue. I mean, literally changed my major because of it. The thought of standing in front of, 35 maybe hungover college students and talk about things is just something I didn't want to do.
Well, I think it's very scary, and I think they've had like surveys that show that people would like rather get a root canal than do public speaking.
I would have done anything, surgery on the spot, anything. Everyone talked to the professor and said, "Is there a way I could sort of not do it?" And no, there was no way. So.
You have put in many, many, many hours over the last few months, and this is day number. Do we know?
Today is 99.
So David has worked 99 straight days at the Hebrew Home, which is pretty incredible. You must be tired.
Well, it's nothing any of us ever bargained for, and when you're in an operations position, you feel responsibility to make sure that things are going well, that people see you and see the commitment you're making, to honor the commitment everybody else is making, as you and I talk about a lot, because I'm in your office a lot. We're blessed to work with people that have really stepped up in ways that maybe they didn't realize they could. People have put their own safety, their own worries aside and come in day after day. And in my way, I'm just sort of paying tribute to that and doing my piece. That streak will end this Father's Day when I will not be here. It'll end at 100-something days. I don't think it's necessary anymore to do it anyhow. We're in sort of a quieter phase. None of us are convinced we're done with this, but we do feel it's at a calmer phase, so it allows some battery recharging and some opportunity for us to get some rest and be prepared. So, but it's been the most rewarding part of my career probably, to see I talk about developing people, but also to work with people, to see I'm sitting in a room with Olivia and David, everybody, Allison, everybody has just gone so far beyond what anybody thought they'd have to do. I mean, none of us sign on to be walking through the kind of risks that we walk through. We do it because of the people we care for and the love that we have for the job, but it's a lot. You know, it's not something that people generally come thinking they're going to be asked to do. And everybody has far surpassed anything. And we hope this will not be a continuing story. But speaking of stories, I mean, you have, I know it's not but you know, just to shift the burden of the stories are a very important part of, you know, we started our visit program, which you know, because you helped get it on national television and in the papers. And we have other facilities that are calling to see how they can do it. And that's an example of what you do all the time, and not only getting wonderful publicity and recognition for the people that work here and what they do, but for getting people to see that and to take that as the best practices, which is ultimately the best form of flattery you could have.
David does this all the time. I ask him a question and then he pivots and he changes the topic. So we're going to pivot back to David. So
That was the first time I did it in my
I know
9
what it
minutes.
took. How did it take? How many minutes did we go? So let's talk about your time away from work. We all know that you're a Red Sox fan. Maybe you could just tell our viewers again, how did you get into the Red Sox? How'd that start?
Any chance to talk about my dad, and it's your Father's Day edition. So my dad loved baseball, and he taught me baseball, and we frequently went to games. Being from Riverdale, we were at Yankee Stadium quite a bit, and we saw the Red Sox play. Back in the days when I was young and following baseball at first, I was born in '63, so, you know, probably '67, '68, '69, the Yankees were just terrible. Not the Yankees that people know today that are perennial winners. They were quite embarrassing, and for baseball fans out there, we're talking about the Horace Clarks, the Stan Bonsons, the Howaniers, just really not good ball players. Maybe good people, but not good ball players. And my dad took me to see Carly Yastrzemski play. Carly Yastrzemski's from Long Island, a New Yorker, so I had some interest to see this, who had a tremendous year in 1967, won the Triple Crown, which is a very unusual thing to win. He hit a couple of home runs the day I was there to see him, and I made the momentous decision, fateful decision to become a Red Sox fan. And when I decided to do something, as you know, because we spend time together, I'm all in. And I became a Red Sox fan, and it was probably the worst decision I ever made for many years, because they just found every way to break your heart, kind of like the Charlie Brown trying to kick the football kind of deal with Lucy. They always find a way to lose painfully in '67 and '75 and '86 and 2003, find miserable ways to lose, '72 also, and finally changed in 2004. So the decision feels a lot better now. We've won 4 World Series since then, and it's a big part of my life, as you know.
You know, this was in the newspaper today. Baseball is being talked about quite a lot in the news, and there's a headline that says, "If there's no baseball, will you miss it?" So I'd like to pose that question to you, David.
Well, that's sort of an unusual. I miss it desperately. It is a everyday, you know, part of my life. Playing it and watching it every night is sort of my relaxation at the end of the day. But I really don't believe they should be playing this year. As much as I miss it, I don't think with what's going on it makes sense to bring people together for that purpose. Certainly to have fans in ballparks. I'm a believer that sports should stay and wait. I know it's a normalizing thing. It's for somebody like me, I live it. But I don't think it's a responsible decision right now. I think they're better off to wait to either a vaccine or some new measures in place to do better testing. I think sports would be better off to wait to 2021. So they have all kinds of disagreements on money, which is really keeping them from
Yes.
playing more so than my
Right.
concerns about illness. A lot of greed on the part of owners and players, which is sort of a ongoing saga with baseball. David, would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So much as basketball is doing a much better job of getting ready to play, I just don't think sports are for now.
And they just announced yesterday, I think it was, that the U.S. Open is going to move forward without fans.
Which would be very odd.
I know.
The grunting will seem even louder when they hit the tennis
Yeah,
balls.
yeah. It's like when you see the WWE and they're doing the wrestling and there's nobody in the audience. It's kind of weird. You know, it's not quite the same.
And you're a big tennis fan. I know everybody in the family plays tennis.
As are you.
And I know that you like to go to the Open, and maybe you can tell us who your favorite tennis player is. I don't think I've ever asked you that question.
Oh, I like Federer. How about you?
I'm an old school. I loved watching Jimmy Connors play in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And
And Agassi. Andre.
And I was a big Chris Everett Lloyd fan, though she's no Lloyd anymore. I think she's had a few last names, but I liked Chris Everett, I liked Jimmy Connors. Today's guys don't seem to have the same kind of personality that the McEnroes and the Nastasis and some of these people had. It seems to be more cold and more focused on just serving, the game is different. They serve 140 miles an hour, the points are very short, and it's not kind of the same excitement of the lentils and the matches that we'd watch for years, but I still watch it.
We want also to share with our viewers your newest hobby, which is photography and wildlife photography. And we have some pictures behind us that we're going to talk about, but perhaps you can share with us how you got into that.
Well, I've always been interested in photography, but never to the degree that I've become interested in it. I found during this period of time it was important to find things that would be relaxing and would give me a chance to step away from the challenges that we're all facing. And so I decided to step up my photography game. And we're lucky to live on a beautiful campus with birds and wildlife to see of some types, squirrels and things to look at. And I work in an organization which is supportive of animals and things with pet therapy. And we added some bird feeders, which would help me to get my pictures in better regard. And I've enjoyed, as many of you residents perhaps, I know Fred, if you're watching, because I know you're a big watcher of the Wendy Wednesday show, sees me outside with my camera all the time. And I'm taking as many pictures as I can on my little walks outside.
So who is this little critter that we have behind us?
He was over by the, I think I found him on the walkway near the bird feeder that's closest to the Goldfine building.
Do we know what kind of bird he is?
I don't, but he had a little cute face.
Yeah, a little orange on the
Yes.
top. Well, let's see the next one.
And there you see the bird feeders. We have 4 of them, and Wendy and I are negotiating with the powers that be here to get some more, because we like them, and they're,
Yeah.
it's nice to feed them and to share the world with them. And,
See the next one. Oh, yeah.
and you can see the details and colors on some of these guys. I'm trying to expand my lenses and
Yeah,
get myself
beautiful.
closer, but
Oh, beautiful pictures. Taking breakfast, lunch. Oh,
and there's one I asked you to include today, because this is my one of my pandemic memories will be this. We were at the gate, I believe,
that was like early.
thanking
March.
staff for their work, and
Yeah.
I said, well, take a picture, because that's kind of like what our look has been for the last, this will be back on when the show's over, and this has kind of been our
Yeah.
look.
That's the look.
And you've been by my side the whole time as we've worked hard together, along with all of our colleagues, to try and help people, both from a staff, from a resident, and luckily now with families being able to visit in our new special way, to help everybody get through it just a little bit better. We can't make it great or perfect, but we've made it hopefully a little bit better.
Absolutely. Before we finish our interview, we have our 4 parting questions that we ask all of our guests. What is your favorite food?
Well, if you watch my show, I offer everybody a free pizza at the end, and I can't tell you, I would love to know how many slices of pizza I've eaten in my life, because it probably would be a number that would be so staggering that it would be, record-breaking.
And how do you like your pizza? Plain or with
I
toppings?
generally prefer it plain, and I like all different types. I like it thin, I like it thin, I like it frozen, I like it day old, I like it anytime you can have it. I don't-
Sicilian? Or is that too doughy?
Sicilian occasionally, but preferable is regular pizza.
Okay.
We've had a couple of pizzas together.
Oh, just a few over our 8 years together.
I think over this pandemic, we probably had about
Yes.
40 pizzas.
It's
Many of us
usually-
in this room have.
It's usually
Olivia and
pizza
Dave.
day. Pizza day with David.
Family
right?
webinar days, it's
Yes.
tomorrow. We'll be
Yes.
eating pizza tomorrow.
David, if a movie was being made about your life, what celebrity would you want to play you?
Well, it's going to be a really kind of wacky answer, and I did tell it to you already, but I will tell everybody that when I was growing up, the big movie star was Burt Reynolds, and he was just the guy, and I always wanted to walk around. He used to wear his shirt open, and I used to try and wear my shirt open to try and have the Burt Reynolds look, so I would say Burt Reynolds.
Okay. With a mustache or without a mustache?
Either way.
Okay.
Maybe without the toupee, because I think the later Burt Reynolds, it became clear that his hair was not his own.
Got it. What's your lucky number, David?
14 is my lucky number. It used to be 12, and it was for Joe Namath. And then my first daughter was born on Valentine's Day, 14th. And then I thought, this might be time to change the number, but I wasn't really going to do anything too hastily. And then my second daughter was born 6 months a day later on August 14th. Lisa born on Valentine's Day, Melissa born on August 14th. So I said, with 2 14s, there's no fighting it. And now 14 is officially, when I play ball, I wear number 14.
That's a good number. And last question, if you were not human, but if you were an animal, what would you be?
I would be a cat. I grew up with cats in my house. Then later, Max, my first dog, who maybe some of you met here, is a pet therapy dog. But I've always been a cat person, so I would say cat. Do you have a bad label as being sneaky and being, a lot of things, but I find them to be very loving and domesticating and warm and smiling with their eyes, and I'm a big cat guy.
Before you leave, we have a parting gift for you to wish you a happy early Father's Day from everyone here at Good Morning Hebrew Home. So that
Very
is for you,
nice.
David.
Do I open it?
You can hold on to it.
Okay.
Stay in the chair. Join us for our last segment here of the show. We're going to first talk about programming. And by the way, thank you so much for sitting in the guest chair and
Couldn't-
chatting with us.
Well, I'm in the guest chair in your office often, so it's really just a different locale.
Exactly. Today's programming includes Bible study with Rabbi Noah at 11, right after this, wellness with Deborah at 1:30, a concert with Larry at 2:30, and a rebroadcast of the show at 6:30. We're going to close today, continuing with our Father's Day theme. As you know, Father's Day is this Sunday. We're wishing everybody a happy Father's Day, and we thought it'd be fun to talk about some famous TV dads. So, behind us we've got Al Bundy from Married with Children. Is anybody a fan of that show back in the day? That was very popular. Next we have another dad.
So I'll just, if I could interject.
Sure, please. that's why
So
you're
I
here.
told you it's Father's Day edition. You said
Yes.
Barry Manilow's favorite performer. Andy Griffith was his favorite show. He whistled the opening to Andy Griffith.
Oh, he was with the whistler. Oh, there you go, Andy Griffith. Did anybody watch that show? That was a great show. We watched that a lot. Another famous dad, Andre Johnson from Blackish. Anybody watch that show? That's pretty
I do.
popular now. I think
I
that's
do.
on ABC. It's pretty popular. The one and only Archie Bunker from All in the Family. He was quite a character. This one is very popular in my house. Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers. It's a very funny show. Carl Winslow from Family Matters, another popular one. From those back in the 70s, I think. Fred Sanford from Sanford and Son. Another fun dad, Herman Munster from The Munsters. Howard Cunningham from Happy Days, he's a good dad. Randall Pearson from This Is Us.
My favorite.
We got Mike Brady
That's
from The
my
Brady
favorite.
Bunch. Another TV dad, Phil Dunphy from Modern Family. Philip Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And Homer Simpson from The Simpsons. And our last picture is my favorite dad, which is my dad, Louis Schwimmer, who passed away 5 years ago now. And I miss him every day, and I think about him every day. And he's a big part of who I am. I always think that, my tough side that I have, I always attribute that to my dad. He gave me my strength and sometimes just the grit that you need to get through the day. My dad is my biggest cheerleader, gives me so much love and support, and just wanted to share that with our viewers. So thank you so much for joining us for this Father's Day edition of Good Morning Hebrew Home. We hope that all the dads out there have a great day on Sunday. Take time out for yourself and enjoy the day. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
Hebrew home, good morning, Hebrew home. My heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home.